YouTube, it's Stasha Erickson. I hope you guys are all doing well today. Well, it is Thursday, June 8th of 2017, and I am back with another Mandela Effect video for all of you. So, many of you that are familiar with the Mandela Effect have heard about the anomaly with Mount Rushmore. Many people believe that Mount Rushmore and the order of the presidents, of how we see them today, is not the way that they have always been. Now, with a large landmass anomaly like this, it's very hard to change position of the presidents that are basically carved into a mountain. So I'll show you guys some before shot, or some current shots of Mount Rushmore, and then also a clip of some residual evidence pictures that I found on someone else's YouTube video of how Mount Rushmore used to look. So that's kind of Mandela effect number one. A lot of people know about Mount Rushmore changing positions and the presidents looking in different directions. If you hadn't heard about it yet, then that's Mandela effect number one for you guys. Mount Rushmore has changed positions. Okay, now I've known about that one for a little while, but I had never made a video about it, so I thought that was important to bring to your attention. But the latest Mandela effect that has kind of kicked off from this Mount Rushmore Mandela effect is the existence of a park that's similar to Mount Rushmore, but definitely one that I have never seen before, and definitely one that I have never heard about before. Now, the place that I'm referring to, the second Mandela effect we're going to talk about today, is known as President's Park in Virginia. Now, President's Park was a 10-acre sculpture park and associated indoor museum formerly located in Williamsburg, Virginia, in the United States. It contained 18 to 20-foot high busts of the presidents of the United States, from George Washington to George W. Bush. So, pretty recent if they were able to include George W. Bush, but never heard of it. Now, the statues were sculpted by Houston artist David Adix, who was inspired as he drove past Mount Rushmore, there's our connection guys, when returning from a trip to Canada. The park was opened in March 2004 by a local visitor attraction entrepreneur named Everett H. Haley Newman III, who had slowly been taking delivery of the busts since the year 2000. The park had financial troubles and was closed on September 30th of 2010. Creditors finally put the park up for auction, but not including the busts, on September 28th of 2012. Now 2012, that's the big year that everybody believes that the Mandela effect really kicked into gear. Now, in 2012, after a foreclosure auction that was originally scheduled for April 26th of 2012, was canceled without explanation. By January 10th of 2013, the busts had been moved to private storage at a local farm by Howard Hankins. Now, there's a similar park near Deadwood, South Dakota. Deadwood, South Dakota. That doesn't sound like a great place. Now, artist David Adix sculpted a second set of presidential busts. They were placed on display at a similar outdoor park museum setting in Lead near Deadwood, South Dakota. Or it almost looks like it said Lead near Deadwood. So we've got lead and Deadwood here at this park. Now, this park was operated by the artist himself until it too closed after financial difficulties. Some of the South Dakota busts can still be seen in 2015 at various RV parks and hotels around the Dakotas. The busts of Presidents John F. Kennedy, Ronald Reagan, and George W. Bush are located near Mount Rushmore at the Southern Hills RV Park and Campground in Hermosa, South Dakota. President Abraham Lincoln's bust graces the Lincoln RV Park on US 85 south of Williston, North Dakota. Others, such as President Theodore Roosevelt's bust, is stationed at the Roosevelt Inn in Watford, North Dakota. Okay, so that's the summary of the whole President's Park scenario. Now, I understand that it was supposed to have been built recently, but it was supposed to have actually been created almost 10 years before 2012. It was in the early 2000s when this park was put together. I mean, this is a really, really huge operation. We've had a lot of presidents, and for an artist to sculpt each individual president into these massive, I think it said they were 20-foot high busts, and then suddenly it goes bankrupt, and then they sell the park, but they don't sell it with the busts, and now there's just presidential busts popping up all around Mount Rushmore. It just feels very strange to me. How are these two things connected? That's really what I want to understand, because Mount Rushmore being a Mandela effect, and now this President's Park showing up. And I'm going to show you guys a screenshot from Wikipedia and show you guys some images from the park itself, which, I mean, it's just really a really creepy looking place, especially when you view the images that show how the park just kind of went into disarray, and you can see dead weeds and plants kind of crawling up the sides of the busts. It's very, very, very strange anomaly to me, and I just feel like since everybody knows about Mount Rushmore, and if this park was located near Mount Rushmore, wouldn't we all know about it? Now, I would really love to hear from some people who live in the Dakotas. If you live in the Dakotas and you remember this park when it was built in the early 2000s or any of this stuff, I would really love to hear from you. I'm from the West Coast of America, so I've been to North and South Dakota before, but it's been at least 10 or more years, and I certainly wasn't Mandela affected back then, so I didn't go around looking for stuff like this. But I would really love to hear from all of you guys in the Dakotas if you know this place or you recall it. There was also an additional article that I found on the Smithsonian.com, so it's pretty reputable. It's coming from the Smithsonian, and it talks about how 43 giant crumbling presidential heads ended up in a Virginia field. And the article reads, after an ambitious monument went bust, big dreams and big heads still remain. And this was written on February 12th of 2016, so just about a year and a half ago. Now, in Croker, Virginia, stands a site that would make just about anyone stop in their tracks. 43 ghostly effigies of presidents past crowd together in the tall grass. Some of the 18 to 20-foot busts, 18 to 20 foot high. They have crumbling noses, tear-like stains from the eyes of others. All have bashed-in heads to some degree, and this could be a scene from the world's most patriotic horror movie, but it's all too real. And Howard Hankins' family farm is just the latest stop on the busts' larger-than-life journey from iconic pieces of art to zombie-like martyrs of America's past. I mean, wow, this is just even the way they're describing the location, it sounds really creepy. If this place was a secured park protected from the public, then at what stage were everyday citizens allowed to come in and just simply bash in the heads of these presidents? The whole thing about this President's Park seems very, very fishy to me. I will show you guys some more screenshots from the article itself with some more photos of Lincoln, whose head is just totally bashed in, and it's just a very, very, very creepy looking place. And if you know anything about like voodoo dolls and people that even there's a thing called a golem, which is like a voodoo doll, where they're kind of creating an image of someone or something, and they inject spiritual energy into that, and then they destroy it. It's very similar to a voodoo doll. That's the kind of only analogy I can use off the top of my head. But let's say these busts were created as like, voodoo dolls for each president and energy, especially if you're going to sculpt something that massive. You're going to put a lot of time and energy into it. Who's to say that those were not created as some type of literal effigy to these presidents? And if they were destroyed or damaged or vandalized, well, that's the same way of destroying a president. It's very, what is the word? It's just very symbolic. This seems very symbolic and very odd. And with all the presidents still living and all the government who seems to throw money at every little direction that comes its way, why at some point did a president not pay to take over this park or pay to restore the bust that had been destroyed? There's many questions connected to this Mandela effect, and I would really, really appreciate hearing your feedback. Okay, guys, so that is going to wrap up today's Mandela effect video. I know I have a lot of Q&As for all of you. I will definitely try to do a Q&A video soon. Also, I just wanted to mention and remind to all of you, if anybody is interested in receiving a healing or a guidance reading of any kind, I have my Fiverr readings available for the rest of this summer. I'll be going to Ireland the end of July, and I will keep my readings open until then. Basically, I provide assistance to anybody who's going through some type of a spiritual struggle in their life, whether it be from an outside source or something within yourself. You know, I'm put into a category of a psychic, but the work that I do is not revolving around predictions or absolutes. I'm really more of a spiritual guide that helps people that are going through really deep stuff. So if you're watching this video and you feel that I can help you in some way, I will leave the link for the Fiverr, my Fiverr profile below. You can literally get readings from me between $5 and $10. It's not often that I provide these services back to the public, so I just wanted to offer this service to all of you while it is still available. Also, you can support me on Patreon. On Patreon, I ask people to donate just $1 per month, and it allows me to take a few times away each week from my studies and my degree program to bring you guys the truth. Okay, guys, I love you ever so much, and I will be back with more.